Hey, fourth graders. I miss you very much, but I just wanted to make a quick video and go over some spelling, some vocab, social studies, and math with you. Let's start with spelling. I have your list right in front of me. If you notice, it's just starting with today's work, but it's doing a weird thing where if you don't click the white box, it won't show up. So click the white box and it'll show up for you and allow you to write on the document. So let's go over the words real quick. Package, dwell, activity, festive, spend, attitude, elephant, alligator, shelf, bandage, measure, rapid, nonsense, scrap, mint, taxes, enter, camper, eggplant, and special. These words are short A and short E sounds, and the reason we have to do these this week is because all of my spelling packets are at school and I'm quarantined, so I can't go get them. But this is a good little activity anyway. Um, Monday, you had to write all of your words in your best handwriting 3 times each to practice. Today, on Tuesday, you did almost like a meaning mastery sheet. Wednesday, let's see what you're going to do. Wednesday, you're going to fix the misspelled word. So it'll give you sentences with the spelling words. If it's correct, you'll write correct. If it's not, then you will fix the misspelled word. On Thursday, you're going to write them in alphabetical order, and on Friday, you'll have your test. Please remember when you do your test to listen for dictation. Some of you last week didn't do dictation at all, and it cost you about 10 points. So please, please, please listen for dictation and make sure you do all of it. Spelling's pretty easy. You guys can kind of keep up with that yourself. Let's move on and look at vocab real quick and go over some of these words. So get your vocab book out with me and we'll kind of go over it together. I wish that we could have done Zoom, but unfortunately, this is probably the first day that I'm actually feeling a little bit better. So I spent the day grading your stuff on Shobi, and hopefully we can get caught up and get back in. So I'm on page 90, and let's go over these words that you did matching on last week. And this week you will be doing the sentence test. So the first one is brisk, energetic, lively, fast, cool, and fresh. If you go for a walk and you're walking really quickly, that's a brisk walk. If you think about fall weather or the beginning of winter where it gets kind of crisp and cold, that's brisk as well. Another way to think of it is there's something called a brisk tea. It's a canned tea and it's called brisk because it's supposed to be cool and refreshing for you. So that's another way to remember brisk. Cherish is to feel or show great love for, to value highly, to take special care of. Cherish means that you really take care of something and it means a whole lot to you. If you have a special gift from someone that means a whole lot to you, you would cherish it. Considerate, showing concern for the needs or feelings of others. So if you're considerate, you're kind and you're thoughtful. A good friend would be considerate. Keep that in mind for Friday's test. Displace means to force, to move, or flee, to move out of position. So displace means basically to move. If there's hurricanes, sometimes it will displace people where they will have to leave and go seek shelter somewhere. That's what displace means. Downfall, a sudden fall from power or position, a sudden heavy snow or rain. So downfall could be a leader of a government or an empire, like the Roman Empire. Downfall means that something went wrong and they're not in power anymore. Or it can mean sudden heavy rain or snow. If there's a really, really heavy downpour this morning, there was a downpour this of rain and storms and all that this morning, that would be a downfall. Estimate or estimate, depending on the meaning. To form a rough judgment about size, quantity, or value, a rough calculation, a careful guess. So an estimate is just about how much something is. If I go to Target and there's a sweater for $14.99, my estimate would be it's about $15. So when you use that about, that's what estimating is. It's just a careful guess. Then we have humiliate. To hurt someone's self-respect or pride. It means to embarrass someone. If you really embarrass someone, then you are humiliating them. Identical means exactly the same and like in every way. Twins can be identical, they're not always, but if they're exactly the same, they're identical. If you and your best friend have matching outfits for twin day at school, then it is identical. Improper is not correct, showing bad manners or taste. So if something is wrong, it can be improper. Poll, collecting of votes, usually plural, a place where voting takes place, a collecting of opinions. To receive votes, to vote, to question people, to collect opinions. When we did our election math in October and November, we talked about polls. A poll can be almost like a tally. If I were to ask everyone, what's your favorite kind of ice cream? We could take a poll, and then that would tell me what the answers are of the opinions of the whole class. Soothe is to make calm, to ease pain or sorrow. If you're soothing something or someone, you're trying to make them feel better. They use the example of a baby. If a baby is crying, you're trying to soothe them and make them feel better. And then the last one is vicinity, the area near a place, the surrounding region. So we could say that Forest Acres is in the vicinity of Timmerman School because Forest Acres is what is around Timmerman. So it's the surrounding region. Okay, so this week you're working on page 93 with the political charge backfires, the Buffalo Trail, and a friend's good turn. Please make sure you check the work you did on Monday because some of you got them wrong, and if you get those wrong, then the rest will be wrong. I didn't take a grade on like how many you missed, if you made an A or a B. You got a 100 if you tried it. So just go back and try the rest of them. On Wednesday, you're going to do word associations. Thursday, you'll do preparing for a marathon. And then Friday, you'll have your test. The test will be a sentence test. So please make sure to read all of that and make sure you are understanding the words. Next, let's look at social studies. This is a lot of kind of busy work this week, unfortunately. When we get back to school, I want to get started on our states and get back to learning those. But for right now, I wanted you to do the majority of your reading at home. So we're on chapter 3 now, which is learning about regions. So I'm going to be on page 71, and I'm just going to kind of go through and look at them with you. So chapter 3, lesson 1 talks about regions. A region is an area with at least one feature that makes it different from other areas. In the United States, we split areas up into regions because it makes it easier to group them because they have something similar. So it says there's a variety of regions. It's not always where something is, and it's not always southern states, northern states. Sometimes it could be a region where there's similar languages or similar cultures, things like that. Interdependence is another word they give you on 71. It says people and places depending on one another for resources, products, and services. Mostly everything is interdependent. We don't always grow our own food and do everything for ourselves. We need grocery stores. We need people who sell services and goods to help us. So that's interdependence. Okay, if we flip it over, it gives us the kinds of regions. We have political regions, which is where people share a government. We have physical regions, which is where they're grouped by natural features, whether it's landforms, rivers, climates, wildlife, anything natural. Economic regions are based on the way people use their resources. So, for example, in Texas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma, they drill oil, so that's a region. It could be a farming region like in the Midwest. The fourth region is cultural regions, and it's where they share certain ways of life. This would be your ethnic groups, different cultures, different languages, religion, things like that. Then it tells us about regions changing and connecting. You just need to know that modify means to change. People change their environments all the time. It's not always going to be the same, which is good. We don't want it to always be the same. It gives us the example of the United States. We started with 13 colonies. Now we have 50 states. Then it goes into technology. Just know that that's the way people use knowledge and tools to make or do something. And communication is the way we send and receive information. And again, we'll go over all this in class. I just wanted to kind of give you a rundown of the important stuff. Okay, moving on to page 79. This is lesson 2. This is where we start to get more into the United States part of it. There are 5 regions. You need to know all 5 regions. We have the Northeast, Southeast, Midwest, Southwest, and the West. You need to know that Washington, D.C. is our capital. It's not a part of any state. It's called a federal district. They have people in Congress. They can vote and elect local leaders. They're really almost like a state, but they're not. They're totally different. Okay, turning it over. You need to know that states are divided into counties. For example, I live in Lexington County, but schools in Richland County. In those counties, you have different leaders. You might have a mayor. So we go from president, head of the country, a governor is head of state, and then we have mayors who are head of these little cities and counties we have. Well, it wouldn't be the head of a county, it'd be the head of a city or a town. So we have city governments, they give you local governments. A municipal is a city or a government. That's just a fancy word for it. City manager is another person like a mayor who runs a city. We have to have all of these different people running it because a president can't run everything and a governor can't run everything. States are really big. So we have to have all of these little tiny governments inside of the bigger government. 3 levels of government: federal, which is the president; state, which is the governor; and local, which is your town or your city. The federal government can make treaties or sign agreements with other countries. That's something that only the federal government can do because they make decisions for the country, not for local places. The state government is the ones who provide services for people in our state. So they're the ones who take care of the roads, the parks, the schools, libraries, public colleges, state colleges, things like that. Then your local government and city is the ones that provide you your police department, your fire department, some public schools, things like that. And then turning it over, you have special districts. These are just smaller regions. That one's not going to be super important. And then turning it over to lesson 3, this is the longest one, but it had a ton of information. You need to know that Canada is the 2nd largest country in the world, and it's above us, it's up north. They have political regions, and they're called provinces. Their provinces are almost like a state in the United States, but they're not called states, they're called provinces. They have 13 provinces, and they have 3 territories, which make up the 15. So a territory is an area owned by the government or the country, and the province is a political region. Canada has a lot of landforms with mountains, forests, lakes. Northern Canada is super, super cold and dry, so not a whole lot of people live there. Most of them live within 100 miles of the United States border, so going all the way across the United States. The border between the United States and Canada is the longest unprotected border, meaning that it doesn't have anyone at every point stopping to check you going across. You do have to check, though, going across and show your passport. Then it goes to Mexico. Mexico is to the south of us. It has its own federal district that's not a part. That's where Mexico City is. So Mexico City would be very similar to Washington, D.C. in America. It has mountain ranges, plateaus, a lot of farmland, some grassy plains, some forests. 100 million people live there. Their official language is Spanish. Most of them live in cities, but many live along the Rio Grande, which is the long river through Mexico. They farm, they manufacture oil, manufacture, and then they have oil production. They have farming, ranching, mining, all of those kinds of things. Then it goes to Central America. That is the part between Mexico and South America. And it's in the Caribbean Sea or Caribbean, however you want to pronounce it. Central America has 7 countries, and it has the Pacific Ocean on one side and the Caribbean Sea on the other, which goes into the Atlantic Ocean. The Caribbean Sea has Cuba and it has Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is a commonwealth of the United States. It's not a state, but it's a territory. The United States owns Puerto Rico and it governs itself, but they're also considered citizens of the United States, so it's a little different. Then we go to the Virgin Islands. The Virgin Islands are another territory of the United States. They're 50 small islands. Virgin Islands are where people go to vacation, and they're the really kind of tropical islands. The Virgin Islands citizens are also United States citizens too. Central America and the Caribbean are in the tropics, which means they're near the equator. It's very warm. It's very rainy, which is why they have the rainforest, which we've talked about before. They have sugar cane, they have coffee, bananas, tropical fruits, all of those kinds of things. And then it gives us Greenland at the end. Greenland is the world's biggest island. It's super, super cold because it's super far north. It's all tundra, which is a flat, treeless plain that stays mostly frozen. It's a territory of Denmark, so Denmark owns it. Most Greenlanders are native people called Inuits, which are people who also live in Alaska. So this is just kind of an overview. We're definitely going to go over it more in class. I just want you to read and do the notes this week so that you'll be able to talk about it with me next week. And then lastly, let's look at what you're doing for science. Not science, we're not doing science, we're doing math. In math, last week you did some division. I didn't take many grades on that. Some things I did, so we're going to go back over it on Monday of next week and just kind of look at what you've done already. This week is a review week. I am grading your stuff this week. So yesterday you did some multiplication review. Today, let's look at what you did. Today, give me just a second. All right, today, or I'm looking at, I only have 19 people who turned in work today, so make sure you turn in your work. Today, you did some subtraction. All of these things are going to be on your standardized test in a couple months, so that's why we're doing them too. Wednesday, you're going to work on some addition. That should be super, super easy for you. Thursday, you're going to do some word problems. And Friday, you're going to do some more word problems. They're super, super easy though. You should have no problem. So that's what you're doing this week. Let me also talk to you about your multiplication tables. You have got to know those multiplication tables. You have all of this quarantine time right now. Get some flashcards, find some games online, something, and learn your multiplication tables, because that's what's going to keep some of you from understanding this division. Another thing, keep up with Teacheries with what you're missing on Show Me. We do have time to make it up because it's not like we're going to come back and report cards are going to start, but I do need you to keep that in mind. So make sure you're going through and you're looking at what you're missing. I think that's about it. I know it was a long video of me just talking, and you can see that I have this from COVID, which is super embarrassing. But I miss you guys, and I can't wait to get back to normal. And then I'm going to show you real quick Apollo and Goose, but they're sleeping. This is my Apollo. You say hi, Apollo? No? And then this is my sweet baby Goose. You say hi, Goose? No? Okay. Bye, guys. I'll see you very, very soon.